First of all, just an introduction of me for those of you that might not know who I am. My name is Bhavik Patel. I am an estate planning attorney and a special needs planning expert in this region. I think I've given over 100 or so of these presentations to ARC family. So really appreciate being here and thanks for listening in. The non financial need based benefit that is known as Social Security benefit, and in particular, Social Security disability income for a disabled child. Not to be overly morbid, but I drive home, I get in a car accident, I become disabled. I have been working my whole career. I've been earning credits in Social Security. And if I become disabled now, I'm going to be able to receive Social Security disability for me as a working adult that's earned enough credits into the system to be eligible for that benefit. That isn't what we're talking about today, but I wanted you to know that obviously is the thing that I think most of us know or are familiar with or appreciate. But there is another benefit for Joey, an adult Joey, where Joey is eligible to receive SSDI that's tied to my Social Security. Very important. So a lot of people do not know about this. Here's what has to be proven in order to have Joey receive a portion of mom and dad's Social Security. One is Joey must be disabled prior to the age of 22. Obviously, again, medical records. This is medical substantiated. They'll have access to your doctors and Joey's doctors and medical records to be able to assess that. There is, however, one more additional definition for Joey's disability when it applies specifically to SSDI. If Joey has the ability to earn income that is above $1,000 a month, that's not an exact number, that's just the number I'm going to say in this presentation so that you remember a specific number, then SSDI is going to deem Joey not to be disabled, even if he's disabled medically. So the ability to earn too much money is also a part of the disability definition in this particular circumstance. And by the way, that makes sense even for me if I were to drive and I got in a car accident, but I was still able to practice law, I won't probably receive SSDI payments for me. Okay, so one test is the child must be disabled prior to the age of 22. The other is that one of Joey's parents must be eligible to receive Social Security, him or herself. And there are three ways a parent can become eligible to receiving Social Security, him or herself. One, if the parent is deceased. Two, if the parent reaches the retirement age and is drawing or collecting on Social Security. Or three, the parent, him or herself, is disabled and receiving SSDI payments. Joey receiving SSDI through his parents' Social Security is not affected by Joey's assets. In other words, Joey could have $1 million sitting in the bank, but have been disabled prior to age of 22, and Joey's mom has passed away, and so then Joey would be eligible to receive SSDI. How much can Joey get through SSDI? Well, it depends on the eligibility standard that's applying to the parent. So remember, the parent's eligible if the parent's deceased, disabled, or retired. If the parent is eligible due to disability or retirement, then Joey is entitled to an amount equal to half of the parent's benefit. So if the parent was receiving $2,000 in Social Security, the parent will continue to receive that $2,000 at retirement or disability, but Joey will receive an additional $1,000 for Joey. Remember, this money is unrestricted money. It can just go in a good old-fashioned money market, a checking or a savings account. It could be saved. It could grow. It doesn't have to be used for food and shelter. It doesn't have to be spent on anything other than what it needs to be spent on, if you're only focused on SSDI. But if you have Medicaid, for example, then you need to monitor how that money is accumulating or being saved so you don't lose Medicaid. You might lose SSI because SSDI is unearned income and it might shut the door. It doesn't lock the door, it might shut the door. But it doesn't mean that you would lose Medicaid. So I want you to understand there's a lot of moving pieces there, but I wanted to make that sort of broad statement for you to kind of understand how all of this works together. By the way, if the eligibility of the parent is determined because of the parent's death, then Joey would receive 3/4. So if that amount was $2,000 for the parent, now Joey is going to get $1,500 a month. And that is a month for the rest of Joey's life. If it was $3,000 that the parent was getting, that's $2,250 a month that Joey would get for the rest of his life. What if both parents are eligible? Do I get the double count? Do I get to get a little bit from both? No is the answer. They will look at the higher eligible parent, the parent that's having more of a benefit, and they'll base it off of that. Here's the thing about SSDI for Joey as an adult that's different than SSI. Joey will only get SSI if he applies for it. And also, though it's true, Joey has to apply for SSDI, his right to the SSDI money starts at the moment that eligibility is occurred by the parent, and either the parent is deceased or the parent actually starts to receive the money from Social Security. And the reason that's so important, this happens all the time. So many people do not know that this benefit exists for Joey. And it's not like an opt-in right. It's a actual legal right. So it starts the moment it's eligible. So here's what happens all the time. One of the biggest reasons people also lose their Medicaid benefits is because they did not understand what I'm about to say. So picture the scenario of mom or dad retiring and receiving Social Security, receiving $3,000 a month in Social Security, and has been doing that for 5 years. 5 years later, you realize, oh my God, Joey was supposed to get this benefit. So I need to let them know, or, and it happens, I don't know exactly how it happens, but it has happened. Social Security themselves find out that Joey was to be eligible. What happens then in that 5th year is when Social Security realizes it, they'll be like, oh my God, we owe Joey $90,000. That's what the math led up to being if the eligible parent was receiving $3,000 a month in Social Security. 5 years later, 1,500 a month times 60 months would have meant that Joey would have received $90,000 in total benefit. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to write a check to Joey for $90,000. Well, $90,000 is above the threshold for Medicaid resource test, and you're going to lose Medicaid. And most people want to keep or hold on to Medicaid because of its powerful nature and what it does provide care and funding for. Not only will it disqualify Joey from potential Medicaid, it's clearly going to shut the door for SSI, but it's also going to trigger SSI saying, wait a minute, we've been paying you $800 a month. I'm just making up a number for the last 60 months. So we've paid you $48,000 in benefit that we should never have paid you because you were eligible for SSDI and forgot to tell Social Security that. So we are asking you to pay us back $48,000. So once you do that, the $90,000 of benefit ended up only being $42,000 that you get. By the way, there's taxes on that. So after taxes, it ends up being maybe around $30,000. And then even the $30,000 is above the Medicaid threshold, so you still lost Medicaid. So all I really want, I'm not trying to scare anyone from all of this. All I want you to understand is you need to be very proactive of the timing of when you receive Social Security. And if Joey's disabled prior to the age of 22, that you're communicating all of that right at the same time so you could deal with receiving SSDI payments monthly, and then you can get yourself on autopilot, meaning spending the SSDI money appropriately, so it's not accumulating, so you don't lose Medicaid, or moving whatever is being saved into the ABLE account so that you could save for Joey and not lose the Medicaid benefit.
We have about 5 questions. So the first one, I am retiring in June. I have 2 kids who are disabled and have Down syndrome. Don't they both qualify to get half of my Social Security? And one is 17 years old and the other is 13 years old.
They will get the minor age Social Security until they age out of that, and then they'll be eligible to get the adult SSDI. But it doesn't automatically convert. So you have to proactively communicate at 18 the shift to the adult SSDI benefit. But yes, both children would get it. Now there is an all-out family cap. So, if you had 10 children with disabilities, you wouldn't be able to get 10 times the benefit. There's a family cap. The family cap's reached, then it's proportionately reduced to all the eligible Joeys. So just wanted you to understand that. But yeah.
Second one, how would all this apply to Joey if someone has guardianship of him through Children's Division?
Guardianship has nothing to do with adult SSDI. Just because you're the guardian of someone that turned 18 or older does not mean they're not still an adult. So the real blunt answer is guardianships have nothing to do with the benefits that we're talking about.
In the case where the second spouse retires and their amount is higher, thus the benefit for Joey is larger than when the first spouse retired, how do you make sure that Joey is now getting the higher amount? Do you reapply?
Yeah, you proactively communicate with Social Security when the higher amount's being applied for by that eligible parent, and then they shut off the valve of the other one and start the valve of the higher one.